Today you're not going to sleep, you're going to heal your brain while your body rests.
That's the promise of this session, not a fight against insomnia, but a deep reconnection with the internal mechanisms of sleep. Inspired by the discoveries of Dr. Andrew Huberman, this scientific meditation will guide you through getting your mind, your breath, and your environment to work together as a team. You don't need any prior experience. Just presence, silence, and the willingness to allow your body to remember how to sleep well. Sleep is not a state of forgetfulness. It is an active physiological act, a time when your brain cleans, reorganizes, and regenerates. This process occurs thanks to the glymphatic system, the hormonal balance between melatonin and cortisol, and precise signals of light, temperature, and respiration. What you'll learn here isn't a magic trick. It's tools aligned with Dr. Huberman's applied neuroscience. Tools that can transform restless nights into profound regenerative periods. Over the next few minutes, we're going to 1. Tune your environment to rest signals, light, darkness, temperature. 2. Activate physiological regulation through conscious breathing. 3. Guide you to a state of mind of surrender and repair. 4. Display visualizations to support brain regeneration. But first, do this. Sit or lie down comfortably. Allow your body to sink into that position. Let's synchronize with breathing. Inhale slowly through your nose, 4 seconds. Pause. Exhale slowly through your mouth, 6 seconds. Do it 2 more times. No forcing, just rhythm. Allows the exhalation to be longer than the inhalation. With each exhalation, imagine releasing all the weight of the day, tensions, thoughts you snatched away. With each inhalation, feel the air fill your lungs with calm, with space, with safety. Many of the practices we will use are inspired by protocols endorsed by Dr. Andrew Huberman. For example, keeping your bedroom cool, around 19 to 20 degrees Celsius, or about 67 degrees Fahrenheit, is a recurring recommendation in their sleep optimization guides because it helps your body initiate the temperature drop needed to fall asleep. We also learn from his teachings about light exposure, that bright light during the day strengthens your circadian clock, and that blue light at night can inhibit melatonin production. Here you won't turn off your brain, but rather train it to recognize the signs of true rest, applying what neuroscience knows works. This session is not a substitute for medical care or professional treatment. If you suffer from chronic insomnia or clinical sleep disorders, consult a specialist. Use these practices as a conscious complement and support. Now that you're grounded, your breathing has slowed, and your mind has calmed down a bit, we're ready to dive into exploring how light, darkness, and your circadian rhythm regulate deep sleep. Come with me. Night has always been a conversation between light and darkness. Since the beginning of life on Earth, every living being learned to read these signals. Sunrise signaled movement, search, action. Sunset, on the other hand, was the language of calm, return, rest. Your brain, even though it lives in the 21st century surrounded by screens, still obeys that ancient conversation. Inside it is a clock, a small cluster of neurons called the suprachiasmatic nucleus, located in the hypothalamus. This clock doesn't measure minutes or hours, it measures light. It is the guardian of your circadian rhythm, the biological system that regulates when you should be alert and when it's time to sleep. As Dr. Andrew Huberman explains, this clock receives its main signal from a special type of cell in your eyes, intrinsically photosensitive ganglion cells, which are sensitive to a specific wavelength of blue light. These cells aren't used to see objects. They're used to tell the brain what time of day it is. When the dawn light hits your retinas, that stimulus travels directly to your hypothalamus and triggers a chain of chemical reactions. Cortisol is naturally released, waking up your neurons, regulating your metabolism, and raising your body temperature. But when the light disappears, the same neural network initiates another message. It's time to produce melatonin. The balance between these two substances, cortisol and melatonin, defines the architecture of your sleep. And that's where the real science of the night begins. Now, imagine this. You've finished your day. The screens are still on, the overhead lights are still shining a cool white, and you think it's time to rest. But your brain doesn't believe it. Because, as Huberman teaches, the body doesn't understand digital clocks. It understands photons. If blue light continues to enter your eyes after sunset, your biological clock hasn't adjusted to night mode. The hypothalamus interprets it as still daytime, and melatonin, that hormone that induces sleep, is delayed or even blocked. The result is familiar. It takes you longer to fall asleep, your rest becomes more superficial, and when you wake up you feel like your sleep didn't restore you. But there's good news. You can retrain your brain. You can give it back the signals it needs to sync with the darkness. And it all starts with something as simple as watching the sunrise. Dr. Huberman explains that receiving natural light in the first 5 to 10 minutes after waking up is one of the most powerful practices for improving nighttime sleep. That early light recalibrates your internal clock, stabilizes cortisol secretion, and accurately marks the beginning of your circadian rhythm. Interestingly, by doing so, you also program the end of that cycle. About 14 to 16 hours later, your brain will begin to naturally produce melatonin, facilitating deep sleep. Therefore, rest doesn't begin at night, it begins in the morning. Every ray of sunlight that touches your eyes at dawn is a seed of deep sleep planted for the night to come. So when night falls and you turn off the lights, your brain won't be confused, it will know it's a time of internal silence. Now, close your eyes for a moment. Imagine the sun has already set. Visualize the room you're in. The lights are warm, soft, with no blue tones. Your phone screen is off. There's only darkness. The temperature has dropped slightly. That darkness isn't an enemy, it's an ancient signal telling your body, it's time to repair. Your retina, even with your eyes closed, continues to detect the amount of light in your environment. That's why Huberman insists on creating a dark environment before bed, as even a dim light or a bright notification can interfere with the natural process of melatonin release. The goal is not to live in darkness, but to reconstruct the contrast between day and night. In Huberman's own words, the brain needs to experience the intense light of day and the deep darkness of night to function properly. When night falls, the hypothalamus activates a series of silent programs. The body begins to cool slightly. The heart slows down. Brain waves change frequency. And this whole process depends on one thing: the absence of bright light. Therefore, the doctor recommends the following. During the 2 to 3 hours before bed, reduce exposure to bright light, especially white or blue light. If you need illumination, use warm or amber lights. If you look at a screen, set its brightness to minimum and, if possible, use filters that reduce blue light. It's not about technology or rituals, but about biology. Night light tricks your brain into thinking the day isn't over yet, delaying the onset of neuronal recovery processes. Now imagine a sequence. The sun sets. Your room turns orange. The noise of the day gradually fades. In your brain, the circadian clock sends its message. It's time to regenerate. This simple synchronization activates the glymphatic system, the brain's cleansing network that eliminates metabolic waste accumulated during the day. According to recent research, this process is intensified in darkness and during the deepest stages of sleep. Without darkness, the brain doesn't reach that depth. Without depth, cleansing doesn't fully occur. Sleeping in total darkness is literally a form of neuronal detox. By now, you may notice your breathing slowing, your body responding to just imagining the perfect night. That's the magic of circadian cues. Your physiology is designed to automatically respond to changes in light. When darkness becomes complete, the pineal gland begins to release melatonin, and with it, a cascade of processes is triggered that prepare for sleep. Body temperature drops, metabolism adjusts, and brainstem neurons reduce their excitability. All of this